music, cut. We're not doing that kind of vlog here, guys. Not today. Look. For this particular autism vlog, this needs to be taken seriously. And that means no jokes whatsoever. I know that. Believe me, I do. I understand that the viewers come here for the laughter and the entertainment, as well as the education. And I appreciate that, you guys. Really, I do, from the bottom of my heart. But there comes a time when the laughter needs to stop. And this is one of those times. Look, just let me do this one vlog the way it needs to be done, and then next week we'll go back to the regular routine. You know, the funny jokes, the funny mistakes I make, me making a fool out of myself while talking about autism. It'll be just like the way it was before. Okay? Yes, I promise.
Okay.
You know, in all honesty, I wasn't thinking about doing this vlog. Really, I wasn't. I figured that if I had stayed quiet long enough, and if I had been patient enough, then eventually the problem would just fix itself. It didn't. And now it's gotten to a point where enough is enough, something needs to be said about it. And while I'm not going to be vulgar about this, because I like to keep it PG, it's going to get loud. So you guys have been warned in advance, so that way you guys aren't surprised or anything. So, for those who have been following me ever since the start of the year, or maybe a little further than that, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate your viewership. You may have known that I've accomplished quite a lot this year. For example, I started a new job at Home Depot, which is really awesome. Those guys are amazing. I was starred in a radio show, 2 of them actually. I'll leave links in the description down below. Even got to be part of an online TV show. I just gotta find a video to share with you guys that. And also I got to go to Otakon, so that was a lot of fun, and you can see that video too on our channel. However, for every awesome thing that did happen this year, there was an awesome thing that didn't happen this year. It was no fault of mine whatsoever, but, well, maybe it's just I didn't catch on it until it was too late, but it was mostly because of bad business behaviors. Certain things that have happened that has set my plan awry because I was depending on other people to either hold their end of the bargain or not do certain things. And the worst part about this is, this has happened to be not 1, not 2, but 3 times this has happened to me in this year. Whether it was something that happened this year or something that happened the year before, there were 3 instances that cost me because of bad business behaviors that I didn't catch on until it was too late. And we're going to be going over all 3 of them in the hopes that you guys can learn from my experience and my mistakes. Now I know some of you may be thinking, what does this have to do with autism? Autistics like things to be black and white. Either something happens or something doesn't happen. Either something makes sense or it doesn't make sense, to keep it as simple and clear as possible. But in the adult world, it's not always like that. It's not always cut and dry, black and white, but there are some gray areas. Especially if you're going into business. Sometimes there's so much gray that you can hardly tell the blacks or the whites separately. And with these examples, hopefully you'll get a better idea on some of the things that can happen. So before I get started, I'm going to let you guys know no particular names or organizations will be named in this vlog whatsoever. Last thing I want to do is start a flame war on social media. So, let's get started, shall we? Bad business behavior number 1. Making deals behind other people's backs. Near the end of last year, there was someone who contacted me, and we're gonna call this person number 1 for the sake of this vlog. So let's say person number 1 was in charge of like fundraising and networking events and wanted to network with me as well. So we got in a group call with a couple other people talking about future events to go to. And these were big events. We're talking about like other parts of Maryland, DC, even Philadelphia, Virginia. And I think one of them was in Colorado too, if I remember correctly. And I was going to be there to not only network, but also provide photography and videography services as well. So that would have made for a lot more Friday vlogs. And I told them, yeah, that's great. I just want to make sure that I'm getting paid for the work. Because if you're good at something, don't do it for free. But also, since I was going to be traveling a lot, that's going to be a lot of expenses like parking, gas, hotel, food, that kind of stuff. I just want to make sure I got something out of this, more than just business cards and whatnot. So person number one was like, yeah, sure, we could talk about that a little later. Then, a little while later, this person drops off the radar for months. So then, when I finally get in contact with person number one again, he's like, oh, just to let you know, we already got a photographer and videographer to help us out. What? You kidding me? But then person number one was like, oh, but you could still come and network with us. That would be great. And you know what? If person number one had told me about this plan or change of plans ahead of time, like within the first few weeks I was trying to contact this person, then maybe I would have considered it. Maybe I would have considered going there anyway for the sake of networking and whatnot. But we had a plan set where I would be a networker, but also a photographer and videographer. That was set. And then I find out at the last minute, right before an event comes, someone else has taken my spot. So I was really furious about that. I kept it professional, but I did let this person know that we had a deal that I would be a networker, but also a photographer and videographer. This person did not follow up on that deal. So as far as I was concerned, we had no deal. So we went our separate ways, and that was it. I never heard from that person again. So now we're going to be moving on to bad business behavior number 2, empty promises. When someone makes a promise or a commitment to do something and they don't follow through with it. There are very few things in life that hurt more than a broken promise. And for this particular example, I've had to deal with broken promises from person number 2, as we're going to call this person, multiple times. So last year, person number 2 was like running some freelance group, saw my work, and this person was like, hey, I saw your work. Want to come work with me? We got some awesome opportunities. And I thought to myself, a nice change of pace might be good. I look forward to new opportunities. Great. So when can we start? Person number 2 says, oh, it's going to be awesome. We're going to be doing events starting mid-January. It's gonna be great. So January comes, nothing happens. Okay, so is something gonna happen? Oh, the events aren't gonna come in until March. I should probably have told you that. March comes, nothing happens. Where are the events? Oh, we got some in June and July coming. They're gonna be huge. You see where I'm getting with this here? So time and time again, person number 2 has told me that they got events coming up and they never showed up. Moreover, this person had like an online show that this person was trying to make, and they wanted me to be a part of it. We kept arranging dates and end up with last minute rescheduling because, oh, this person was scheduled on that day. We didn't know until the last minute. Sorry for the late notice. We're just gonna reschedule for another time. The heck? Look, I may not be too business savvy or whatnot, but when you make a promise or a commitment to someone, you better keep it. And another thing is that if you're going into a business or like a contract business or a freelance business and whatnot, they need to have work for you right off the bat. That way you can hit the ground running, know the field that you're working in, and start making your money's worth. That way you start building value and start building networking. If the person you're talking to is saying months on end that stuff is going to be coming, but nothing comes, that person is wasting your time. Stop with the empty promises and just move on to someone else that will give you work. And finally, bad business behavior number 3. And this one kind of irked me a bit. Overstepping your boundaries. And while this may not have affected me directly, it did affect me indirectly. So it all started around roughly a year ago or so, where person number 3 was with a wedding photographer at a wedding event. Very special, once in a lifetime event. So here's what happened. Person number 3 was in charge of running the music for the event, while the wedding photographer, you guessed it, was supposed to photograph the event. So it was all good, but then the person number 3 decides to take out their camera and start photographing. And the wedding photographer was like, no, you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to be running the music. I'm the photographer here. That was part of the agreement. I was supposed to photograph and get the work to them. You're supposed to be on music. Get back on music, please. Now, normally, for like a successful business person, they would have just dropped it at that. Just like, oh, I apologize. I was just taking a few pictures. I'll go back over to the music station, make sure that's all good and running and whatnot, and just leave it at that. Did this happen? No. Instead, this wedding photographer and person number 3 had escalated it to levels where it didn't need to be. Person number 3 was like, oh, but I want to take pictures. It's my right to take pictures. If I can't take pictures, then no one else here can take pictures. And it got into a bit of an argument. It really kind of upset the bride and groom, especially. And to make matters worse, they took it one step further and made this whole argument on social media, an area where it didn't need to be. And it just got so crazy. It was like watching like a civil war on social media. It was so ridiculous. And when I was asked to not only state my opinion in this matter, but kind of like take sides, for lack of a better phrase, I just want to know part of it. It was exhausting. It was not worth it. It was just one simple mistake that could have been easily solved. Then it got to a point where it was beyond repair. And both people and whatever organizations they were in, their reputation was hurt because of this. And my reputation almost got hurt because of this. I need a minute. I need a minute. So, a quick overview, shall we? We've had someone who made deals behind our backs, someone who kept delivering empty promises and never following through with them, and someone who thinks overstepping boundaries is okay. What do they all lack? It's one simple word. A simple yet very important word. Integrity. And let me pull up the definition for that. Integrity is defined as adherence to moral and ethical principles, soundness of moral character, honesty. It's simplistic and straightforward. When you say you're gonna do something, just do it! Yeah, you tell him, Shia LaBeouf, you tell him! Yeah, like he said, if you're gonna do something, you better do it. When you make a commitment or a promise, follow through with it. If you don't think you can follow through with that commitment, don't make that promise in the first place. That way you'll save the other people the disappointment later. But one note that I will add to this conversation is when you're going in to the adult world, when you're going into the business world, regardless of what business you're going into, remember this: your best interest come first and everything else second. Whether you're doing freelance photography work, whether you're setting up events, whether you're doing some other thing I can't think up of right now because I'm really upset about this particular topic, always make sure that your best interests come first. Because if you're constantly throwing yourselves at the mercy of other business people, you're not going to get far. You're basically going to be scrapping up whatever leftovers they leave for you. Make sure that your agenda comes first, because odds are you either have a family to take care of, a dream to pursue, or some other short-term or long-term goal to follow. These goals or accomplishments, or whatever you want to call them, whatever you have your eyes set for, that needs to come first before anything else. And if the people in question are not interested in helping you push your agenda, find someone else. That's simple. Don't waste so much time, as I did over the several months with the people in question. If they either help you or they don't. It's that simple. So, okay, I'm gonna stop before I get any more upset or angry about this. If you guys had stuck around for the entire vlog, I really appreciate it. I know videos like these aren't easy to sit through, but I had to get it out there. And I really thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your day to look at this. And of course, the usual spiel: if you like what you saw, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay up to date on the latest vlogs. And if you have any recommendations on what topics you want me to go over, let me know too. I'd love to go over them. And what do you think about this? Have you ever had experience with bad business behavior or a certain thing going your way because someone else didn't follow through with it? Let us know in the comments below. If you have a story, feel free to tell it. We gladly welcome that with open arms. We love to hear from you. So, that's that. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Steven from the YouTube channel Tostemac. Just letting you guys know, history is important. And if you don't learn from it, you're destined to repeat it.